Live. I can't tell. Boom! We are live. Good morning, everyone out there in the Omniverse. It is Saturday morning, and if you're here hanging out with me, I super appreciate it. And if you're like catching the replay, I super appreciate it. Today, we're going to be talking super quick, bite-sized conversation, about 30 minutes ish. We're going to be talking about like rigid planning and how it is the key to a flexible schedule, which maybe doesn't make sense, maybe a little counterintuitive in the way I arrange the words. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is because a lot of the super amazing, accomplished professionals that have gone through the Do the Damn Thing time management workshop, they're super awesome. And when I engage with them off and on, a lot of people say, like, Jess, I know how strict you are about your planning and your scheduling. And so I thank you for giving me your time, but I don't want to take too much of your time. I'm like, oh, no, I got time. Like, it's cool. And so what it signaled to me was like, there's this thing that I maybe need to dive into, and maybe I need some help picking apart. But so before we get into that, like, I'm going to talk about that. Y'all already know, you've been here before. I really love knowing where you're coming in from. So if you are out there in the Omniverse watching, listening, gazing upon all of this beauty, let me know so that I know that I'm not like lonely and I'm not the only wacko on here. That's super helpful to me, because it's very easy for me to lose confidence. But I also want to say, I gotta click this thing. If you don't know me, and if you haven't been to these things before, I'm Jesse, and I'm helping high achievers like you get more fulfillment while also getting more done. One of the ways I do that is the new Do the Damn Thing Time Mastery Workshop. And so if you are interested in that, you're at the right place. I'm going to be doing this live stream every other Saturday at 9 a.m. Central. And I have some announcement dates for the workshop, and I'll let y'all know about that here in a bit. But let's give a shout out to Mr. Clyde King. What's up, Mr. Clyde? Clyde says that Do the Damn Thing was definitely a good thing. I love it. And I know, Clyde, that you got your hands on that little Trello template. So if it's working, or if you tested it and maybe it's clunky or whatever, let me know. We've also got Mr. Ross Brown. Ross, thank you, brother, for showing up. I've been able to connect with you on LinkedIn. Love seeing you get active, exciting things. Who else we got? Miss Melissa Smith, repeat offender. She's coming in from Dallas, Texas. How you doing, Miss Melissa? I'm going to be in Dallas at the end of February and the beginning of March a bunch of times, so maybe I get to see you in person again. Oh, man, we got all kinds of folks coming in. Miss Trisha coming in from Utah, Harriman, Utah, also frequent offender, and she was a part of the first beta Do the Damn Thing workshop. And she says it was amazing. I really like that. Oh my goodness, everybody's coming in. Miss Carolyn, how are you? All right. Heather Jones, Jake Jones. I love it. Both amazing human beings. And then we also have Jordan. What's up, Jordan? Jordan's all in on all the stuff. So I have a little topic that I'm kind of going to broach the conversation with, launch the conversation. But also, if you are a repeat offender, hit me up with your questions, because I know when we did the workshop, it was 4 hours, and I kind of flooded everybody with all kinds of information. And by now you've been tinkering with it, you've been playing with it, or maybe you it fell off the plate and you've lost some momentum. So if you got questions, and any questions you got, hit me up so I can address those, because I know I don't have 30 minutes of we'll say, content to barrage everybody with. And also, y'all should know it's also on the YouTube in case LinkedIn is giving you a problem. So anyways, back to the thing. Rigid planning is the key to a flexible schedule. Why do I say that? So first I had to do like some major thinking around, is there a difference between planning and scheduling? And for me, when I actually sat down and really kind of got my hands around that, it helped me see things differently and have a delineation between the two so that I could create the conditions to like have more fun, get more stuff done. And so very simply put, planning is the what and the how. What am I going to do? What do I want to accomplish? And how will I go about doing that? And so it's not the same. I'm not looking at my calendar. I'm not looking at my, my clock and all of these things when I'm doing planning. I'm getting out my objectives, my goals, my targets, and I'm getting them out of my head and I'm putting them in front of me. And then I'm kind of prioritizing what is the right now with all the information I know, what is the order in which I'm going to accomplish these things. So that's planning. And then the how, so that's the what, like what am I going to do? What's the order I'm going to do them in? And then how am I going to do them? And this may be a little woo woo, so let me know if it's too woo woo. But for me, how means what do I want to feel and experience while I'm executing and doing these things? How do I want to feel? Which is super, super important and ties to what I talked about just a little while ago. A lot of there are things that I've been invited to collaborate in little projects and new things and volunteer and all these kinds of things, which is super, super amazing. And it's quite often, it's very easy for me to say no, or yes, I want to do it, but I can't do that until March or April or May. And the reason that's the case is because I'm pretty clear about all the things I'm going to do. Like, what am I going to do? And I'm pretty clear on how I want to feel while I'm doing it. And so what that means is I want to have fun. I don't want to be burnt out and rushed and pressured to get all the things. I don't want to have this sense of like impending doom and failure. So what that means is I have to limit the amount of things that I jump in and sign up for. And so it helps me say no real quickly. Now, the other important thing is while I'm out there executing and making big, giant, magical things happen, I also want to be available to my friends, which connects to the how. I want to be experience contribution. I want to contribute and speak into other people's lives. And so in order to do that, I cannot overfill, overpack my schedule. So I'm going to go to the chat real quick because we got some awesome people jumping in. I want to make sure and recognize them. And so if you have any questions on this idea about planning, what does that mean? If I confused you or you think I'm dumb, let me know. Like it all counts. All the comments count. It gets me more impressions. And so we'll give a shout out. Who is this? Oh, Miss Pansy. Pansy, good morning. Pansy Romo coming in from California, West Coast time. It's early. Thank you for joining, sister. We got Mr. Hugo Flores coming in from El Paso, Texas, just scrolling and came across this wackiness. Brother, I appreciate you having the courage to come in and hope things are doing amazing out there. And we have another baller, Mr. O'Neill says, Buenos dias, hermano. O'Neill, I know you're in Roanoke, Virginia right now. Folks, if you don't know O'Neill, you got to connect with him. Super, super awesome dude. And if you would help me like peer pressure him into volunteering to be a guest on my podcast. Hint, O'Neill, I'm coming after you. We got some high fives from Miss Pansy. Oh man, and we got Miss Laura Fisher coming in from there. We got people coming in from all over the place. Love it, appreciate it. Again, I'm gonna blab, and y'all know I'm pretty good at doing the blabbing. And so if you do have a question, just hit me with your question. Drop it in the chat. Let me know what's making sense, what's not making sense, and I'll be sure to address that. Okay, so we talked about planning. Planning is the what and how. What am I going to do? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to achieve? What do I want to learn? All of those things. And then I put them in order. Super, super clear. Don't miss this point. I'm not putting them in a schedule yet. How? How do I want to feel? How will I go about executing these things? I answer those things. And for more clarity, I want to have a good time. I want to be available to my people. I want to also make sure I'm taking care of myself while I'm out there achieving and knocking big things out. So all of this goes into the planning. Now, when I'm planning, kind of like the title says, right? I'm very rigid about my planning. I have a monthly, like a long-term methodology, which is monthly, quarterly, kind of long vision. And I do have some like 3, 5 year stuff that's just real big, high level stuff. And every month, I block out a day at the end of every month to go and assess and evaluate how are things going? Does the sequence need to change? And then I transfer that into my schedule for the next month and so forth. I don't skip that. Or rather, when I do skip it, I start getting off course. I start taking on things that are way outside of what I actually wanted to accomplish. And it's kind of like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? I start experiencing the pressure. I start experiencing the irritation of like slow progress because I need instant gratification. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. And so I have to maintain this planning cadence, which is monthly. And then I do my weekly planning, which is, once I'm into it, I'm gonna sit down. Sunday afternoons is when I do this. And I look at my schedule and I say, okay, what are the things that need to be adjusted that I need to take on or clear off so that I can have the experience that I want to have? And then my daily planning, again, is every morning, sometime between 5 and say 6:30 a.m., is what am I going to get done today? And in what order am I going to attack them right now, given that, the phone hasn't started ringing and I haven't checked my inbox yet. And then I get into the scheduling. So scheduling is very, very simple. It is when. When am I going to do these things? When do I have to do these things? When do I want to do these things? And by when, high level, first week of February, second week of February, going down another, zooming in a little bit more, which day of the week? Zooming in a little bit more, what hour of the day? And so that's scheduling. Now, the reason this is important to me, the difference between planning and scheduling, is because I used to try to do all of it at the same time. I used to be thinking about what I want to do for the week, for the month, etc., and be plugging that into my calendar and plugging that into my schedule. And what it did for me, and so here's a question to you, like, does that kind of lock or twist your brain up into say, oh my God, there's just so many things to do that I can't do it. Like, is it overwhelming for you, or is that just me because I'm just a sensitive snowflake? But now that I separate the two, I do my planning, which is what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? How do I want to feel? How am I going to go about making these things happen? And then it's a very simple plug and play into my schedule in terms of what week of the month, what day of the week, what hour of the day am I going to get those things done? So, folks, let me know if that makes sense or if it doesn't make sense. I think I'm getting a signal here that the LinkedIn is glitching up. Is it glitching up on your end? I'll drop a link in the chat to get you to the YouTube channel. O'Neill says, let's set it up. That's what I'm talking about, baby. I'm going to hit you up, man. Hell yeah, that's going to be great. And then we also got Mr. Brandon Detweiler coming in from Pipersville, Pennsylvania for the Worth & Company. Pipersville, Pennsylvania. Brandon, thank you, my man. I'm curious who forced you to jump in and be a part of this conversation. No, I'm joking. I super appreciate that you take the time to do the thing. And so that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to bring to y'all today, is the difference between planning and scheduling. Now, depending on how well you know me, some people think I'm like super rigid, robotic, plan, schedule, and yes, I can be in that mode. And then some people think I'm just this wild, crazy freakazoid that's always online doing just who knows what. And the answer to both of those questions is both. I'm both. I am in robot mode, and then I'm in freak flag mode all the time. And I think it is because, oh, look, thank you, Heather. Heather says, yes, it's glitching on hers, but she muted and it's fine. But not everyone has a Jake to have sound on another computer. Man, team partnership, man, making things happen together. I love it. So thank you, Heather. I appreciate that very much. Melissa says the stream's working well. And yes, I've been overwhelmed with my to-do list when it's just a list, but feel a lot better when the list is scheduled out. Boom. Perfect example, Melissa. So I'm gonna come back to that because you're poking on exactly the thing I'm talking about. But first, the reason I get to run wild, crazy, have fun, and just live the amazing, blessed life that I'm living is because of my rigid adherence to my planning, which means I know the answer to the question of what am I optimizing for? I am optimizing for thinking time and contributing into the paths of others. And so what does that mean? What that means is when I'm scheduling, I am leaving space in my schedule so that I can be available to help a friend, so that I can have thinking time. And so what does that mean? Like naturally, when I'm thinking about my planning, I know I have 60 ideas that I want to launch into the world or build further upon. But if I try to cram those all into 1 month, I am not going to have the time to be available to a friend or to think, because I got to be in go mood. So back to the planning, right? What am I going to do? How do I want to experience it? Or how am I going to go about that? Well, I'm going to go slower than I really want to, because what I want to experience on a daily basis is connection with other human beings. I want to get the fulfillment that always comes from me serving others. And so if you call me or text me or DM me and say, hey man, I got an issue, I want to, the chances are that day I will have some time throughout that day to have that conversation, which is different than collaborating or participating in the launch of a project, because that's a lot of work over an extended period of time. And I already know that I've got a bunch of things a bunch of irons in the fire, but to help another human being in the moment, I have enough time for that. And because everybody here are like, y'all are ballers, y'all are making things happen all the way. Sometimes you just need to get a little bit unstuck, and then you can take that bad boy and run on down the road with it. And so I have my status, my situation. I can be as spontaneous as I am and as I want to be, because I'm rigid about my planning. And when I'm scheduling, plugging it into my calendar, I'm making damn sure that there is enough time for me to be a decent human being. And I also want to say that was a skill that took me a long time to develop, because I was always in the go 100 miles an hour, go, achieve, accomplish. And when somebody needed me, my mom can attest to this. Hopefully she's not watching, because she'll tell y'all. She would call me and it would blow up my day. I would be irritated because she's just calling to check, like, mijo, I just want to see how you're doing. And I'd be like, Mom, what do you want? I'm working, I'm busy. That's no way to be, but that's how I rolled. And so my point is, because of my rigid adherence to my planning cadence, I have time and space in my scheduling so that I can be available to other human beings. I probably said it 20 times, but I hope that lands with you guys. If it's landing and if it's tracking and making sense, give me some thumbs up in the comments, please. And Mr. Marlo Acosta coming in from the ATX. What's going on? Is Marlo or Mario? Oh, Mario Acosta. What's up, my man? Heads up, ATX. I'm going to be your way here in a couple of weeks, doing an in-person workshop, little mini workshop, a micro dose of sweat equity improvement with the Austin COP. So Mario, if you're available, it'd be cool to shake some hands and see you there in the room while I'm doing my song and dance and having some fun. That's a little different than what I'm doing here, but you know what? It gets me up on stage and I love being on stage. So I'm ready for it. All right. So I'm gonna come back to Miss Melissa Smith. Thank you very much. She says, I've been overwhelmed with my to-do list, when it's just a list, but feel a lot better when the list is scheduled out. And so that is the big deal and the difference between planning and scheduling. Because yes, when I look at after I've done, man, I don't know if I have time to show it. Anyways, when I look at the way I plan, it's a big mess, right? It's sticky notes and it's lists and it's all these things. And just looking at it, it's like, oh my God, I have all these things that I need to get done. And if they don't get done, blah, 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 right? Like that will naturally trigger my overwhelm or my sense of loss and urgency. So that's why naturally the next step is getting it into a schedule. And so both pieces are necessary. And Melissa, I super, super appreciate you, like your comment, because it highlights that situation and that planning is good. Scheduling is the next step to execution. And so what does that mean? For me, I used to, and I'm pretty sure, I think I know I'm not the only one on this one, but I used to like, yeah, look at me. Look at all my, oh, check this out. Look at all my to-do lists. I got this to-do list and I got this to-do list. And then I got the to-do list on my phone and on my, but I wasn't getting anything done. I was just spinning my wheels creating to-do lists. And so there's this point of diminishing return for me anyways, around planning and then scheduling. So I can plan too long and then I don't get anything done. Or I can schedule, and it handcuffs me from actually moving the ball on the important things to me in sharing my gifts and talents with the world. So I got to do both. And so, Melissa, thank you for bringing that up. And maybe if you have any cheat codes on how you go from to-do list to putting on the schedule, it would be super helpful. And I'm not surprised at all that it's something that you already do. All right, we got another question coming in from Mr. Mario. Mario asks, how about dealing or implementing unforeseen fires or events that are urgent? Oh, damn it, Mario, like you came in asking like bomb questions, and it's perfect. So let me share how I do that or how I leave space for that to happen. And then you let me know if it lands with you or doesn't make sense. So the question is like, how do you create, the way I'm understanding the question is, how do I deal with unforeseen stuff, but like they need rapid, urgent attention, which we, especially, I'm assuming you're probably in the construction industry like me, Mario. This happens all the damn time. And so the way I'll tell you a little bit of backstory on it. I was measuring how much I get done in a day. And so I set a target. I said, okay, I want to get 15 things done. I had a list, my to-do list, like Melissa, 15 things done. I want to get these things done. And then I was trying to figure out how to get those done in 10 to 12 hours a day. And that included like personal stuff, exercise and stuff like that. What I found was I could get those 15 things done if that unscheduled urgent thing didn't pop up. So what ended up happening is I was very short, very abrupt, very abrasive with people. Like, what do you want? What do you need? Oh, this is just talk, call me later. And then if something really, really needed my attention that was urgent, of course, I went and did the thing, but then I fell super behind on all the other stuff. And then it just kind of kept domino and compounding down into the future, which I wonder if that's what you're experiencing. So what I ended up doing is like, okay, well, how can I do 10, right? What's the right number that I know I'm moving forward and I'm moving the needle and accomplishing things and have enough space to accommodate those urgent, unplanned things, emergencies, fires, whatever. And so I finally got down, for me, it's 10 activities. Now I've got it even down more, but I don't have like a real job, right? I'm living in Jesse land all the time. And so with just 10 activities, that left enough space for if somebody called and wanted to catch up or just had like a real quick question or wasn't sure, I was able to serve them and have like a cool conversation. And when inevitably those damn urgent request meeting that got scheduled at the last minute, all that, whenever that happened, I was able to absorb it and not lose complete track of all the rest of the stuff. And so summary is, what's the number of things that helps you feel accomplished and continue forward like you need to continue forward, that also leave space to accommodate those unplanned things. The second level to that is having the squirrel cage for the curveballs, because I track curveballs, and I'll give you an example. Curveballs are like the phone calls that I get from people that are random, and they like they think it's an emergency, but it's not an emergency for me. And so I'll create a card, or I'll write down like what happened, what was that thing that wasn't planned, who did it come from? And then when I reflect at the end of the week, I can see like, oh, I had a lot of curveballs this week, which makes sense. That's why I'm not getting a bunch of stuff done. And they're coming from this person, this department, this issue, which helps me evaluate, okay, if I have a high volume of curveballs coming from this specific area, what can I put in place to better manage those curveballs? And so a combination of the two, Mario, is how I deal with that and create space for that. So I see you said, let's get something set up, and I'm imagining that's a phone call or something. Hell yeah, I'm down. I ain't scared. And a beautiful question, by the way. Thank you. And then Miss Melissa says, that's been super important to me too, Jesse. I learned to leave gaps the hard way for my team, job site, fires, family, by scheduling out my day and frustrated with not accomplishing everything when there was no time built in to deal for the natural interruptions in a day. Bam. And if you're in like the lean tax space, you're probably thinking buffers. Yes, personal buffers in your personal schedule, so that you can accommodate those things that are inevitably going to happen. And I do another thing. This is an extra credit point. Whenever I have a meeting cancel or reschedule, I absolutely do not backfill that time. So Mario, yeah, he's in construction, so I know that life, man. So Mario, whenever you have a meeting, like somebody say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it, blah, 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 meeting's canceled. I used to have the tendency like, oh, I got an hour. I can call these other 3 people that we've been trying to get and plug it in. Negative. Now what I do is like when that cancellation happens, I'm like, hell yes, I have an hour of thinking time, period. And so I will think and reflect and assess. And that has been it's hard, but that has helped me big time. All right. So just in case you didn't know, this live stream series is going to be happening every other Saturday at 9 a.m. Central, is the product of, or a result of, the Do the Damn Thing time management workshop. And a lot of the folks that went through the first batch, we had 40 some odd people, super accomplished people that make things happen, went through it. They had some value. A lot of them are here. They signaled like, hey, some additional support or frequent check-ins would help us keep that ball moving. So that's why we're doing this live stream. It's free to everybody. Show up. We'll have a good time. And then I finally got the schedule out for the next batch of workshops. And so those dates are flowing down here on the bottom of the screen. On March 21st, March 22nd, March 23rd, and March 24th, I will be hosting a workshop on those days. You don't have to go to all 4 dates. You'll get what you need in one. But I scheduled them on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday thing, because on the research that I did, it just that those days were the dates that people could actually commit to and then actually show up. So those are the workshop dates. And I am going to post a link if you want to get more information, or if you know somebody in your network that could benefit from some time management, time mastery, magical sorcery, give them this link. If you're interested, go to the link, check it out. I just dropped it in the chat. Let me see. I got to drop it in another one here. Let's see how this goes. Boom, boom, boom. And if you just like, if you got questions one-on-one that you want to talk through, DM me, we'll schedule a call. And man, I'm happy to learn about who you are and how I can contribute to the path. Sometimes it's just a little bitty nugget. I'll get you the nugget. Sometimes it's a more intensive experience or support that you need, and I'm totally down for that. And so Mario says, trying has been me lately, and I feel bad. That has been me lately, and I feel bad because people that know me start feeling like I'm being dry or rushing them. Brother, I feel you, man. So hopefully some of the things that I kind of blabbed out on here, you can put into practice right away. But bro, I'm gonna hit you up a little later today, and then let's schedule some time to talk, dude, because that's not fun, man. I know it's not fun. You know it's not fun, and we can do something about it, no doubt. All right, folks. So reminder, planning is the what and how. So think about, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to learn? What do you want to launch? How do you want to go about that? How do you want to feel when you're executing that? Give yourself some time to think through that. Then the next action that has to happen is scheduling it. Put it in your calendar. What week, what day, what hour, whatever level is most comfortable for you, put that out there. And I pinky promise. If when I went from just planning and having my mazillion damn to-do lists and not scheduling, though that list was always in the back of my head, and it was like, oh, what did I forget? Oh, I need to, like, I always had the scaries, like, I'm forgetting things. And then it would hit me like, son of a gun, I forgot to schedule that. So the scheduling is absolutely necessary. And back to the word rigid, right? What am I rigid about? Am I rigid about my scheduling? No, I'm rigid about my planning. I do my monthly plan, I do my weekly plan, I do my daily planning. And then I plug it into my schedule. That's it. That's the game. That's what's worked for me. I appreciate y'all like a bunch for being here and taking the time to listen to me, and you know, y'all already know I'm nuts. So y'all be cool, be kind to yourself, and we'll talk at you next time. Peace. Someday I'm gonna get some like outro music.